Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Ask Sharifah Videocast and Podcast. I am your host, Sharifah Hardie, and I have an incredible guest for you today. You saw her on my show, the Roundtable Talk Show, but we didn't have an opportunity to discuss everything in detail or to really delve into the business of Bel Essence. So we're speaking to Miss Debora Pokallus. She is the founder of Bel Essence, a natural skincare company based on nutrition for the skin. The collection was created from her own desire to permanently improve the quality of her skin. She researched the nutrition necessary for healthy, naturally anti-aging skin and spent a decade developing the products before bringing them to market. She launched her business in her 50s, proving that entrepreneurship has no age limit. So you definitely want to go ahead and share this show because we're going to have an interesting conversation. And like I always say, friends don't let friends miss out on Ask Sharifah Videocast. Welcome. Welcome. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I like that. I just made that up one day because I felt like there was so much information. And if your friends don't have this information, I mean, whose fault is that?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. So tell us about you. Who are you? What do you do? And what are you passionate about?
Well, I'm passionate about a lot of things. Right now, the business is a passion because it brings a lot of things together for me. I spent many years in the fashion industry, and I was gravitated towards ethical fashion. And there's two aspects to that. There's the sustainability side of it, but there's also the social justice side of it. And actually the social justice side of it, I found much more compelling. So when I started this business, I wanted to do it in a way that kind of brought all that together, and particularly focused on making quality products that actually worked, that were natural, that people could buy one product and have it work really well and not have to have their skincare be like an entire shelf in their closet. So that was my focus. And then as I've gone along, our sourcing has become more attentive towards not just the sustainability side to it and having everything natural and sustainable, but also to the social justice side of it, not just for the planet, but for people as well. So that's kind of, and I still talk a lot about the aspect of social justice and oppression and those kinds of topics because of what I've learned and spent so much time exploring in ethical fashion.
When you say ethical fashion, talk to us a little bit about what is ethical fashion, or maybe what's not.
Ethical fashion was a movement that grew up probably about 20 years ago. It was started by one designer who was looking to do something different. The fashion industry is global. I mean, it touches pretty much every single life. And it's a very dirty industry. So there's a lot of waste, there's a lot of abuse of the planet, and there's a lot of abuse of people in it, which is what happens when you have such a huge industry. And I like the sustainability side of it, the more organic fabrics and recycling and all that kind of stuff. But I was really drawn to the social justice side of it and the actual slavery and oppression that's a part of any industry like that. So, and when I started it's interesting, when I started my skincare company, I wanted to somebody said to me, well, you need to be inclusive in your skincare. And I said, well, I always had a problem with the word inclusive because I have an older sister and we had this dynamic as older sister, younger sister, where I looked up to her, wanted to do everything she did, and she wanted to have absolutely nothing to do with me.
I know that feeling well.
Yes. And so my mother wanted to foster this sisterly bond between the two of us. So she would say to my sister things like, well, you really should include your sister in that. It would be nice if you included your sister. The mother suggestions that really aren't suggestions.
Right.
So my sister did include me, but she made it abundantly and excruciatingly clear that I did not belong.
Mm.
So I wanted, in everything that I did, I wanted it to be something, a project, a product, whatever, where everybody felt like it belonged to them,
Mm.
no matter who they were. So that's kind of what I was going for. And then, you know, it's just a part of everything that I look at. So the products are based on the basic biology of human skin.
Mm.
It has to do with what is necessary for an actual skin cell to be healthy, to regenerate, and to be as young and as strong as it can be. So there's no, it's not inclusive. It's belonging. We all belong to the human race. We all equally share all of the qualities that make us human. So that's what I wanted to build a product line towards.
Okay, well, I want to talk about the product line, Deborah, but I want to go back because I really feel in my heart of hearts that you, to a certain extent, are being politically correct, that you're giving us this idea of what it was happening with the social justice, but not too many of the details and the particulars. And I don't want to get too deep, but I also feel that, you know, because people talk about, and I won't name names, but one of the largest shoemakers in the world, you know, they have these expensive shoes that sell for hundreds of dollars, $800, you know, thousands of dollars per shoe. But those shoes are created, and the employees who create the shoes are basically having slave wages, you know,
Yes.
pennies on the dollar. So a person gets paid a couple of cents to create the shoe and make the shoe that you turn around and now sell for $1,500.
Exactly. There's this talk, you know, everybody, there's like a coined phrase of living wage that's thrown out there. And the problem with living wage is when you look at somebody who's living in abject poverty and you determine that it takes $5 for them to get through the day, and that's what you pay them, that's not a living wage, because it does not allow people to build wealth and to build a cushion for themselves. So that was always my problem with that phrase. And I spoke out a lot about that when I would talk about ethical fashion, because I wanted people to understand that it's not about, you know, helping these poor people who have nothing else, and we're going to toss them a few coins for what they make. This is about giving people, you know, a way to survive, but also to thrive, to also have dignity, to also have, again, a sense of belonging to the human experience, to not be used for somebody else's experience, but you yourself have a share in that, because again, we are all equally human. My dad said something that reminds me of something my dad said. Back when the civil rights movement was just starting, I think like 5 or 6 years old, and I don't remember how the conversation came up, but my dad was a scientist and he explained everything by science. So he explained inequality to me scientifically. He said, every creature on this earth is put in a category by us. And the reason why they're put in that category is because they equally have all of the criteria that makes them part of that group. So when it comes to humans, we all have everything, 100% equally of what makes us human. And so far, science has never proven that in that category of human, there's somebody who's more or somebody who's less. And that was it. That was my explanation.
I think I would have liked your dad.
Yeah. Because that's the way he lived his life. You do not treat anybody differently because they look different than you. Everybody is the same. On the flip side of that, however, speaking as a white person, the flip side of that was I grew up thinking everybody was the same, meaning that everybody had the same life experience I had.
Right.
So that was the biggest shock to me when I had one incident with somebody I really respected and I saw how she was treated. And I realized, oh no, Virginia, not everybody is the same. And it just, everything that I had thought just collapsed in. And I think that was one of the things that made me look more carefully at, you know, the social justice, the slavery, the oppression side of the fashion industry. But I mean, ethical fashion extends beyond that. It's in other industries too. It's coming up in the technology industry again, because we all need technology. We're so digitally tuned in that devices are becoming a daily important thing for every human being. And once you have that, then the abuses can really start. You have it in the manufacturing, and you have it in the mining for the minerals too.
Right.
So, I try to speak as much as I can about the subject because I'm not active. I don't have a company that, other than the sourcing that I do, I don't have a company that can actively go out there and make change. So I do the change that I can make, but then I try to be as vocal about it as I possibly can when I speak on it.
Yes. I mean, I see that, Deborah, but I also feel that sometimes the change that we need to make is just us doing our part. That's it.
Mhm.
And that's all. And so when you build a company and you create a company that's doing its part to make this world a better place, I think, to me, sometimes that's enough. We can always do more. People can always expect us to do more. But
Right.
you created Bel Essence. You actually created a company that is concerned about these issues. And I
Yes.
think that's amazing.
Yes, and yes, and I agree with you entirely that, if I'm going to talk the talk, then I'm going to walk the walk. But I also feel like, because I learned so much, there's a lot that I can offer other entrepreneurs who may want to go down that road, but really don't know how, or, don't know what it means. So I try to also speak on that, to give people information that they can use to go forward in their own lives. We have, from the simplest thing on all our packages, we have please recycle. From that's the basic fundamental
Yes.
thing. Don't throw our packaging out, put it in your recycle bin. And we use as much as we can. I would say probably about 95% of our packaging is absolutely recyclable. And we're always looking for things that are biodegradable and recyclable to use. And it's a progress too. That's one thing I want to point that I wanted to make when I did talk about this, is that, when you're a little itty bitty company, there are a lot of things that are out of your reach financially to be able to do. But it's a progress. You do what you can right now at this point, and then as you grow as a business, then maybe you can take something else on. Maybe you can do a little bit more, and so on and so forth. So that as you grow into a bigger company, you're walking down the same path. You're just a little bit further along than you were when you started out.
Right. But it's those baby steps and those first steps that get you there on your journey. Before we start talking about Bel Essence, though, why skincare? Were you like a 13-year-old with acne, or why is it so passionate? Why are you so passionate about skincare?
Well, when I turned 40, I looked in the mirror one day and I realized how much I looked like my grandmother, who was 98, and not in a good way.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. I can
I
imagine.
said, oh my God, I cannot look like this at age 40. And, so I said, all right, we got to do something. So I went out to the grocery stores and bought what I could afford, all of the drugstore brands and everything. And I do not disparage anybody's products. They all worked, but I wasn't getting a permanent change in my skin. I didn't want the effects of the skincare to wear off after, when the product wore off. And then I'm back looking like, the picture of Dorian Gray. So I said, there's gotta be something. So like I said, too, I wanted something that went down to the basics, raised by a scientist, back to the basic science of skin. And what is it that doctors say and scientists say that's important for healthy skin? And a number of vitamins came up, A, C, E, and B came up all the time about being important for skin. Then I started getting into reading medical journals, and I went through this whole article. I don't know how I made it through. It's about the chemistry of how vitamin A actually reverses sun damage in your skin. So I got all of the nutrients, and then I started looking, because I was making it for myself, I looked at what can I buy in the grocery store that's natural ingredients that's going to fix my skin. And I started out with that, and I started mixing oils that I bought and ingredients that I bought in the grocery store, and it started working. Shocker. And as I went along, I would run into people and friends I would run into, they'd all say, oh, I love your skin looks so good. What do you use? So I would hand them my formula. I would actually give them the grocery list to buy. And they look at it and say, I don't want to make it. I want to buy it somewhere.
Right. That sounds like me. I'm not a DIY person in any form of fashion.
So I understood that. And then someone else said was starting up a business on Amazon, and they said, look, make up your product and we'll put it in our mix. So I did that, and I did very, very well with one product. And then they asked for a second one. So I got my cauldron back out and started mixing. So I had two products, and they did very, very well. We got very good reviews on them. And that's when I decided, all right, well, let's look at other things that I can do. Again, what can deal with certain skin issues, but still correct it or help it from a very basic, fundamental, everybody's involved in this, and it helps everyone point of view.
Okay, so I want to go back to one of the first things you said about this product, though. So everything that you put together, you were able to find at your local grocery store.
Right. Well, there were a lot of ingredients that were preferable that had some oils that had a lot more of what I was looking for in them, but I couldn't get them off the grocery store shelf. So I looked at oils, and primarily oils that I could buy. And I looked up the ones that had the most nutrients for your skin and that kind of thing, and most benefits for your skin. And those I started mixing together, because I didn't, I wasn't going to go out and buy gallons of one kind of oil just for me. So,
right.
But then as I was approaching making this as a product, then I started looking at, all right, what are some other things that are out there in the marketplace that aren't for consumers, but I can buy in bulk quantities and be able to make a product out of. And that kind of opened the gates to what I could put in my products. It made a lot more possible. So I kind of went wild with that. Went a little crazy.
Not at all. You got to get crazy when you have a cauldron.
Yeah,
I think
that's right. That's right. Put a little of this in, a little of this, and stir it up. Yes.
Okay, but it sounds just so like a wonderful story. Like you had this idea, you wanted to do this, you started making it, you knew some people, they opened some doors, but mad scientists, sometimes you wind up with Frankenstein, sometimes you wind up with what you want. Were there certain times when was it trial and error where you got some responses or some reactions?
Oh, there are many, many batches of skincare that are in the garden.
Okay.
Many times, you dip it in and you're like, oh my God, what is this?
Right.
Yes. Then it comes down to, tweaking and working on it and making your notes. There's one product I could not get right. I don't remember which one it was. I had like 4 pages because I started out with the recipe. But then as I was going along, all right, we're going to put a little bit more of this in. So I had to write that down. Oh, wait, that doesn't work. We had to balance it with a little more of this. So it ended up being like 4 pages long before I finally figured out how it was going to work and be well balanced.
Did you have like test subjects? I know you mentioned your sister. Did you have neighbors or anybody?
Everybody. We do not test on animals. It's human tested and human approved. And at this point, I now have a circle of people who are like, when are you making your new product? I want to try it out.
So they could be your testers.
That's right. Everybody's happy to be a tester. So yeah. And I get very, very, very pointed remarks about it. People, if they don't like something, they do not hesitate to tell me what they do not like, which I appreciate so much. They apologize for it. I'm like, no, that's what I want. I want to know what you don't like about it.
What would you say is the one thing that you kind of felt maybe might have been an extreme feedback, but you tweaked it and it's like, okay, they were right?
Let's see. I had one friend of mine who tried a product, told me, I cannot put this on my face. It stinks to high heaven.
That sounds like me.
And I'm like, "Well, I didn't really notice that. I mean, it smelled a little bit, it was okay. No, 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 I'm not touching this. So I said, all right, all right, all right, we'll come up. What scent do you like? And I came up with it, and it took a few tries of, well, it's better, but I'm still not using it until I got it right. But for the most part, most of our products, what I found that people like is a really soft vanilla scent or a little bit of a citrus scent. So that seems to be that seems to be where I stick, because I'm terrible when it comes to fragrances. That's my one weakness. And I think something's going to smell wonderful, and that's when I get feedback like that.
Yes. We have
Why are you messing with this?
We have different senses.
Yeah.
You don't want to mess with it. But I also think as far as fragrances for skincare, we want to be careful, because one thing will affect one person one way, somebody else may like it, not like it. And on our face so close, we just kind of want to feel clean and smell.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So I found the two scents that seem to be, and it also, because the skincare, like I said, it's for any skin. So I wanted it to be something that men would use too. So they don't like smelling like flowers. Right. So I found two scents that seem to be popular with men and women. And I've had a lot of people ask for, different types of scents, but I'm telling you, I'm terrified of putting it in there and getting yelled at.
Now you have flashbacks.
I know.
No, I don't know, because I'm a person who's very sensitive to smell. Like, that's one of the weird things about me. It's like I can smell things from miles away, and I can tune into exactly what it is. I have a very high, I don't know why, it just is.
Well, some people, a lot of people do. I tend to be sensitive to certain smells, not everything, but certain ones I do. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, it's a little bit.
It's interesting though, the whole process. I like the mad scientist process of anything, of creating a product, creating a business. And one of the things that you mentioned is becoming an entrepreneur at 50. What was that like for you? Were there times where you said, Deborah, I don't know if I can do this. Who am I to do this business?
There have been many times where I have burst into tears and called out to God and said, please just let me retire.
God said, no, do the work.
But actually it came about, the commercial side of this came about by an accident. During the first crash, I was laid off. And I was 50 years old, and nobody wants to hire somebody my age. I couldn't even get interviews. So right about that time, that was when I was told, hey, I can put your product up there. I had nothing to lose, really, because I wasn't getting any calls for a job. So I figured, all right, let's give it a whirl. And it worked. And that got me through I mean, I'm still waiting for my first interview. That's about 11 years.
You don't need an interview now. You already have a job.
Right, I know. But I'm still waiting to hear back from those headhunters about these jobs that they're going to get for me after a decade of waiting. So
no, God has something better for you. Now,
it's a good thing.
It really is. But Deborah, I'm telling you, I love your personality. I love that you're always laughing and you see the positive in everything. But this still took work. You could have just stayed at that same level when your friend or your person in your network was offering it for you. But you created so much more than that. What made you decide to keep pushing and keep growing and keep building your business?
Well, first of all, work is something that I just go naturally towards, sometimes a little bit too much, but I gotta tell you, making new products is really a lot of fun. And I'll come up with this idea and I'm like, ooh, I want to put this together and this together. And I've had friends say to me, Deb, you have like 12 products already. Take a step back for a minute. And I'm, no, this will be great. This will be great. I got this other formula for it. And everybody's willing to try it out. But, I do take it a little bit far. But I guess it's just, I didn't have any other options, like I said, and it's a challenge.
Mhm.
And it's very hard. And there are times where you curl up and you just want to sleep all day because you just got hit hard with something and it's just too much for you to process. So you just can't. And then you wonder why you're doing all this and why should I be working this hard at my age? But there's a lot of satisfaction in it too. There's a lot of accomplishment that I found that I didn't find in other jobs. You know, I got rewarded for my work and I got, people complimented me on a job well done and that kind of thing. But this is something, when you look at a business that you create, this is something from yourself that you're making.
Mhm.
And it's something that you can look back on and say, you know what? I created that. I made that. I
Mhm.
did that all by myself, pretty much. And,
Mhm.
you know, there's a lot of satisfaction and a sense of, this is what I've done with my life, and you feel like you've accomplished something.
Mhm. So with that said, and the product aspect you enjoyed, but what about the other aspects of having a business? Now, all of a sudden, there are payroll, there are websites to build, there's social media, there's branding. There's so many different aspects that you may not have had wore the hats before. How did you
Not so
accomplish
much, not so much fun.
that? But you learned it. Obviously, you have a successful
You know
business.
what? When you're standing on a cliff, you learn how to tie a knot real
Right.
fast.
I like that.
So yeah, there's certain things. The things that I do enjoy, the other aspects of that I enjoy are doing the creatives. Doing the ads and the web pages and that kind of stuff. That stuff is fun. Social media, it's can be fun, but it can also be take on a chore aspect to it because you feel like you have to keep putting out. We've just taken a couple of months breather from social media. We're going to start that up again. But every once in a while, you just have to step back and say, oh, okay, we're going to regroup, because you just start putting stuff out day after day after day, and you realize that it's just putting it out because you feel like you have to.
Mhm.
And so that's hard. And, the business aspects of it, the accounting and
I heard exactly what you were saying without words. I got what you were saying.
but,
Yes.
you kind of have to do it. So, you look at it this way. Um, when you're dealing with family life and motherhood, washing dirty diapers is the least favorite thing to do, but at the same time, kissing your kid goodnight is your favorite thing. So there's the good and the bad of everything. And if you just had the good, you wouldn't appreciate it as much if you weren't dealing with the bad, the stuff that you hate. So I look at it that way. It's a chore. If I get through this, well, then I'll do something fun.
I love your attitude. It's just always so positive. But let's go back to these products, roughly 12 products. I'm the
Mhm.
kind of person who does not wear a lot of makeup. I feel like if I
Me
put
neither.
on some lipstick, I'm good. I'm like, that's my makeup,
Yeah.
right? But I find that with skincare, when people wear a lot of makeup, it's more difficult for them and they need more products. With your
Yeah.
products, is it designed for people who wear makeup, people who don't wear makeup? Do you even take makeup into account with your products?
Well, when I was developing this, I wanted my skin to look good without makeup.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my goal, because when I was younger, I didn't wear any like foundation or anything, just a little bit of eye makeup and maybe some lipstick. And I kind of wanted to continue to do that basically because I'm lazy and I don't feel like putting all that on.
Go team. I'm with you. I support you. That's why I don't wear makeup. That's it. Give me some lipstick.
And
Leave me
you
alone.
look great. But the other side of it too is, um, if your skin, like when you have lines and your skin's dry and it crinkles up, that can disrupt the makeup on your face and it can actually make you look older. So I figured if I'm going to have to wear makeup, then I want my skin to be as healthy as possible and be hydrated so that any makeup that I put on won't accentuate that kind of thing. So I think that's what the products do. What we advise people is, if you're going to use it, use the skincare, put it on after you take a shower when your skin's warm because it'll absorb faster, and then give yourself a few minutes and then put your makeup on. Sometimes with your skin moisturized, makeup goes on a lot smoother, and it doesn't, and the products are designed to keep you hydrated for a long time, like 24 hours. So hopefully you'll get to the end of the day without that makeup seeping into the lines and the crinkles in your face from smiling and everything. So that's kind of the way that we have developed it in terms of cosmetics.
Mm-hmm. Well, your skin is beautiful. So you do not have any foundation on, correct?
No, no.
Okay. It is beautiful and it's glowing, but I want to go back to grandma a little bit. You looked in the mirror and you said, I look like my grandma. How long after using the makeup did you start to see results?
Well, it is gradual because your skin regenerates every 28 days. So every 4 weeks, that's the life of a skin cell. So even on drugstore brands that say, they get miraculous results, they do put in there that you'll see more results in 4 to 8 weeks. So yeah, you do start to see that. It took a long time because first of all, I was mixing and matching and trying to come up with the right formula. So that took a long, long time for me to determine that. But once I got the oils together, I really started noticing. Right from the beginning, I started noticing change. It was never fast enough for me. Okay. Those lines were not disappearing fast enough because they were supposed to be gone yesterday.
Right.
But I did notice consistently that it was getting better and better and better. So that made me a little bit more patient, but not by much. So yes, but it's something that we have to, unless you do a procedure like fillers or Botox and things like that, you're not going to see absolute results right away. Any product that you use is going to be gradual. But like I said, I wanted the change to be even if it was gradual, I wanted it to be permanent. I didn't want when the hydration faded away, have all those lines that made me look like my grandmother come back. And that was what the products did. They got me to a point where my skin has minimal lines, minimal wrinkles. And I don't want to look like I'm 20, but I just wanted to look the best I could at whatever age I'm at.
Now, Debora, you mentioned your circle and your support group, but did people start to just say to you, what are you doing with your skin?
Yes.
And notice?
Yes. Yes. When I got started, and I would walk into stores or something like that, I had a couple, it wasn't all the time. I'm not going to say, everybody just went. When I walked down the street, people were just going, oh my God, your skin. No, it happened a few times where I would be in a store or something. And usually when I was like, if I was looking for something specific for myself and somebody was helping me. This was one instance. Somebody was helping me find something in a store. And I said, no, that's not really appropriate for my age. And I had somebody turn around and say, well, how old are you? And when I mentioned my age at that time, they said, what do you use on your skin? So those were the kinds of things that, that would happen. It wouldn't be anything, huge, but people would make those comments. If I made there was one time I was talking to, this is kind of amusing. I was talking to a business associate. We had been going back and forth on email. We met for the first time. And I don't remember what she said, but I made a very dated reference. I mean, like from the 70s. And I could see her face go, how old are you? Because she couldn't place that I knew something or a catchword or something from the early 70s. How would you know that? And so that something like that would happen. And that was about it.
Oh, I love that. See, now I'm almost sold. I'm almost there, right? I'm at 99%, but I got to go another 1%. So I have to find out. One of the things that I don't like, I'm like a minimalist. I, you mentioned being lazy earlier. Like, that's me. I don't like to do too much. And sometimes with skincare, it's like you have to have 12 bottles. First, you have to do this, and then you do that, and then you put on that and hold that for 10 minutes, and then put this on, and then take that off. And I'm like, you know what? I will never do this for the rest of my life.
Well, when I first started doing this, it was pathetic. I bought like this whole lineup of different oils. And then I would start with the first one. I put that on my skin and I would sit and wait for it to absorb. Then I'd move to the second ingredient. And then the third. It was taking me 45 minutes to do my skincare.
See, I wouldn't do that.
I said, no. This is not happening. So I literally, when I made the cream, I put 13 oils in it because I said, I want to use one product on my face, and that's it. I don't want to have to do 12 different things. Wash my face, put on my moisturizer, and then let my skin do its work. None of this. So even though we have 12 different products, you can use one product if it works for you. They're different formulas. We have face creams that are for different types of extra dry skin, oily skin, regular, normal to dry skin. So you can find a formula that works for you, and that's all you use. We have an eye cream that, actually, if you wanted to, you can use the skin creams as eye cream, but sometimes people want to use a special eye cream. And then we have the lotion and we have the body butter. And you know what? If it works really well on your skin, if that formula works really well, you can use it on your face. You don't have to buy a whole set. We have some combination products just to cut costs if people want to use two, like we have combo of the face cream and eye cream, or the face cream and our little clay mask type thing. But other than that, most people buy one or two products, and hey, you know what? You buy what works for you, and they buy the same thing repeatedly. And that's really what we're going for, where you can find that one formula that works the best for your skin, and then you can that's what you use.
Yes, that works for me because I would get the skincare, but I'm a body cream, body butter kind of person. Like, to me, it just makes you feel just that much more delicate. I'm a huge fan of body butter.
Yeah, me too. And for me, actually, at this point, every time there's a batch made, there's a little bit dregs, that doesn't quite fill up the last jar. That's what goes into one big pot for me. I don't care. Toss it all in. That's what I use on my skin. I'm not figuring it out. So
I like that. It's like a little bit for them, a little bit for me.
There you go. I get what's left over, and I'm good. I'm good. And if it's the face cream mixed with the body butter in the same jar, hey, it works. I don't mind.
I love it. I love it. Where do you see Bel Essence going? What is your plan and goal for it?
Well, I'd like the company to grow. I'd like it to reach a wider audience and potentially, be in larger stores eventually. But if it stays online, if it's just our website that we do business on, or the few products that we have up on Amazon, that's fine too. If we grow it, if that's the way people want to buy it, and that's what works out, and we're getting, tremendous business through the website, it works for me too. So we're just working on our messaging and getting it out to as wide an audience as we can, and seeing what happens with it, and firing up the cauldron every once in a while.
Like, we need a new product.
Yeah.
Let's get to stirring.
Yeah, well, mostly it comes from, what would be fun to make? What would be fun to do? And I get a lot of suggestions. I get a lot of suggestions from customers too. And sometimes I'm like, that's not a bad idea. Let's work on that. So yeah, that's pretty much, and the other part of it too, like I said in the beginning, when you're starting out a business and you're trying to go down an ethical road, you do things in baby steps. So one of the other things that I want to see happening with growing with the company, along with the products and the revenue and all of that, is also growing a giving back portion of that, and supporting causes and things that we really believe in as well. So that's an important component of it. But everything moves along and it grows as it does, and you do what you can at this stage, and then when you can do more, you do more.
Absolutely. But I think it's the perfect time. There are so many brick and mortars over the last year who only became e-commerce. And that's how people shop these days. They're only going to shop online. They're
Yep.
not going to go out, especially in this global pandemic. And people really weren't doing too much in-person, in-store shopping prior to that anyway. So I think it's wonderful. This has been incredible. So if you want another career change, Debora, I do recommend stand-up comedy for you, because you are just so funny to me. Your laugh, your personality. I think you would help people. Laughter heals. So I think that would be good.
I had two choices in life. One was either laugh at my life or find a room that had really soft walls to live in. So I figured laughing at what goes on in my life is what's really going to help me get through.
Usually those rooms with really soft walls, you can't come in and out, okay?
No, that's the thing. You're kind of stuck in them. Yeah.
I love it. You are so much fun. I can't wait to continue the conversation and see where it goes. But Debora,
sure.
Go ahead.
On your television talk show.
Yes. Where are you located?
I'm in Philadelphia.
Okay, well, we might have to fly you to LA County,
okay.
to California.
To sit down and talk to you again. It's so much fun talking to you. And I actually am going to be on another one of your roundtables, because it was so much fun the last time. I mean, I'm going to sign up. I signed up for another one.
Yes, I love it. People always ask me, they say, Sharifah, how do you do 5 shows a week, 5 guests per show? And I say, it's a lot of returning guests. That's the only thing I can tell you, is that a lot of people, they have a good time. And because each person only gets probably about 15 minutes, it's not the same amount of time as Ask Sharifah Videocast. So please come back. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Now, Debora, we are coming down to the last few minutes of this show. And what I love to do at the end of every show is just simply allow my guests the opportunity to speak directly to the audience, to everyone who is watching the show live, as well as everyone who is watching it in the archives, and let them know what you want them to take away from your appearance here today.
Well, I think it's important for us to take care of our own skin, and it's important for us to take care of everyone's skin. And I think that's even more now today, has become so important and so vital to our society. So I guess if I wanted to say something to anybody out there, is make sure that you take care of your skin and keep it healthy, but also look after everybody else's skin around you.
Yeah, so if they are interested in picking up some of your products, where can they find them?
Well, you can go to our website, belessence.com. Where also some of the products are available on Amazon, and some of them are available on eBay as well, if that's where you shop. So you can find us just by searching for Bel Essence. Anywhere will come up.
Yes, I love it. I just want to thank you for being a guest on today's episode of the Ask Sharifah Videocast. And I especially want to thank everyone who tuned in to watch the show live, as well as everyone who is watching it in the archives. But I always ask for you to not only watch the show and share the show, but that you support our guests. Go ahead and pick up some of the Bel Essence. It might just change your skin and change your life. So support our guests. You can have that. Take that, Debora. It might change.
I'm gonna take that. Yeah.
You never know. But if you are interested in being a guest on Ask Sharifah Videocast, or maybe you need assistance with your business, please visit my website at AskSharifah.com. Until next time, everyone have a safe and a blessed day. Bye now.